supporting cancer.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Faye.
And welcome. You are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports radio station KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, Tiki Live, Rumble, iTunes, TuneIn, and more. I'm Dr. Marissa. You know me as the Asian Oprah. I was actually introduced to Oprah as the Asian Oprah by Michael Bernard Beckwith. And I am your host with the hashtag positively opinionated attitude, because I want you to start your day in the most positive way so that you can attract more good things throughout this whole day. So I bring you topics and guests to that end, and today is no exception. I am actually super happy to tell you, as you can see on the screen, you've seen his mug before. I've been so honored to have Dr. Reverend Steve Pieters on the show like a year ago, maybe a little less than a year. This was way before his whirlwind Oscar experience happened, and I wanted him to give you firsthand what has happened since he's been on the show before. So please welcome to the studio, Dr. Reverend Steve Pieters. Hi, I'm so happy you're here.
Hi, Dr. Marissa. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, wonderful. Can you sit just a bit closer so the sound picks up a little?
Sure, there.
Perfect. And so since you were here, I went from once a week show to a daily show. So a little practice that I've been doing is having breakfast with my guests. And the first thing we do is take a bite of my gratitude sandwich. So you remember when I asked you the last question? So we've turned the last question into the first series. It's a Happy 88 tool that I use with my clients when I coach them. So if you don't mind, Sam, you're off the hook. Usually I make my sound engineer do this with me. So I'm going to make you do it this morning. Sam, if you're ready to, we can do more rather than less. But what are you grateful for? And we do 8 specific things first thing in the morning before we start doing this thing called doom scrolling. I understand that's a new term where we get caught in the scrolling of bad news. So what are 8 specific things that we are grateful for? So I'll start. I am grateful that I have the ability to broadcast from my living room instead of driving all the way out to the IE. So I'll start with that. And what are you grateful for, Dr. Steve?
I'm grateful for my good health and being as I'm grateful. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Perfect. Sam, do you want to pipe in? Okay, so you're going to let Dr. Steve go. All right. And I am grateful for my friend Mary, who we've known for a long time, and every week we check in with each other. So we were just checking in this morning and finding out what's going on. It's nice to have people like that.
And I'm grateful for my friend Valerie, with whom I check in every morning. Yeah, she's in Dallas, or a suburb thereof. And we go way back to summer camp. So
yeah. I'm grateful that I can be myself in all of my 88% fabulousness and 12% shiitake with my bonus mom and dad, who love me unconditionally.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, and I'm grateful for. Let's see, I'm grateful for I'm about to turn 70, and considering I wasn't supposed to live to see 33, 70 feels really good.
Wow, that is so cool. I'm
Yeah.
grateful that this show and what I get to do puts me in front of really cool people like yourself, who not only do we have the professional, I interviewed you, but I feel like you're a friend. And I have a lot of past guests. A lot of them are your friends: Jerry Jewell, Anson Williams, Don Most, his wife Morgan, like that whole Harlan. They've turned from professional connections to friends, and I can honestly say that I love you, and I'm happy for you when great things happen for you, and I'm there when some shiitake also happens along the way. So I'm so grateful for that.
And I'm grateful for my friend Allison Arngrim, who played Nellie Olson and on Little House on the Prairie, and she has been just the best friend you could possibly imagine, especially all through COVID. We've known each other since the 80s, and she really took really good care of me during the lockdown. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I did interview her way back at the beginning of my show, I think in my first year, 9 years ago. So please do give her my love. And I would love to have her back on for sure.
I'll let her know.
Yeah, wonderful. And there are 8 specific gratitudes that I want you to start your day with. If you're driving in the car right now, you can do it to the person who's in the passenger seat or to yourself, but just keep your eyes on the road. Now, what's interesting about the gratitude sandwich, Dr. Steve, is, and do you want me to call you Reverend Steve or Dr. Steve or Steve?
Steve is fine.
Steve, okay.
Yeah.
So at the end of the night, I used to, and many people do, have a hard time sleeping because they're thinking about all the things that they didn't do, what didn't go right, what still needs to get done, who insulted them, what bad thing happened, and over how to get revenge. So all of those things may keep you from falling asleep. So this tool, the bottom of the bun, is, what do you appreciate about yourself? And in your 70 years, you've learned, like I have, I'm sure, to turn the self-critic into self-care and self-approval. And that's the tool I want to strengthen in all of my listeners, because 1, you're one of a kind, wonderful. And 2, I don't want people walking around with their antenna up saying, who loves me, who approves me, who likes me, literally, right? How many likes do I have? Who's saying nice things? And this age of influence, if you want to say, I just was told that I am an influencer, and it's nice, but it's a trap, because then you're not doing things because you want to do them. You're doing things for the approval. So self-approval is a skill, because if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect someone else to approve of you, right? So 4 things, we're going to do this again, back and forth, that you appreciate about yourself. So what do you appreciate about yourself? So do you want to start?
Sure.
Okay.
I appreciate my capacity for joy.
Beautiful. And I appreciate that laughter is my number 1 favorite sound in the world.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate my musicality, that I can be a good musician and sing through life.
Oh, I'm going to copy that one, because I'm a retired lounge lizard. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So I have sung in various places, in the piano bar in Antwerp, in Belgium.
Yes.
Simply Blues. Do you remember Simply Blues on Sunset and Vine?
I do remember. Yes.
Yeah, I used to sing there.
No
and
kidding.
James Earl Jones used to love to come in and hear me.
Oh.
And Romeo and Juliet's in Santa Monica. And there was another one in Huntington Beach. So we have that in common. That's cool. Maybe we'll sing something.
Yeah, I sing with the
throughout
gay
the show.
chorus. I sing with the Gay Men's Chorus of Los Angeles and have done so for
Fantastic.
almost 30 years now. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's so cool. And I sing with the Agape International Choir, and we just
oh,
opened for the Temptations 2 weekends ago.
how
And I
fabulous!
got to interview the Temptations backstage. And tomorrow, the grandson of the founder, Otis Williams, is coming on my show. His name is Trace Austin. And so we're going to hear him sing too. And apparently, he is he's carrying on the tradition, the musical
Oh,
tradition.
that's really
Isn't
cool.
that cool?
Great.
Yeah, yeah. So I appreciate my musicality. Your turn.
Okay, I appreciate my oh, I appreciate my ability to heal.
Yes,
You
yes.
know?
And we're going to get a bit of that story for
Mhm.
sure, because it's really incredible what you've gone through health wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm grateful. Sorry, I appreciate that I can cut myself some slack. So when like I said, 88% fabulous, 12% step in it, that when I do step in it, like I did this weekend, my daughter's graduation, it was 88% fabulous. And then I stepped in it. I lost my temper, that I can cut myself some break. I can apologize. And then, oh, well, I was in my 12%.
Yeah.
So last one.
And I appreciate my ability to grow.
Ever expanding. I appreciate my ability to love, that
Yeah.
I've learned how to be a little more vulnerable
Yeah.
and let people love me and love back. So
Oh.
yay, let's do a
Yay.
little applause for that. Let's see who can do it first. Oh. Yay, Sam, quick on the button, got it, and I almost canceled it. But that is beautiful. So that's the way I love to start the day.
That's a great way to
And
start today.
isn't it? Because then now everything good, we're on that high flying disc, as Abraham Hicks will say, and we're, now we can look for all the good things.
Yeah.
So I want you, before we go on break, just to give a little background for those who did not watch our first interview. Just I know, right? Shocker. But I know there's so much to watch these days, but I do want you to sort of recap in a nutshell what you have gone through and what your life is like. And the way that I do it, I don't know if I did this with you the first interview, I don't have an answering machine. I have a questioning machine. So when you call me, I say, who are you and what do you want? So, Steve, who are you and what do you want?
Who am I? Well, a lot of people know me as that gay pastor with AIDS who Tammy Faye Baker interviewed back in 1985. I am a long-term survivor of AIDS, full-blown AIDS, since 1982. And I have survived all kinds of things that were supposed to kill me, diseases and treatments and that sort of thing, experimental drugs. Oh my God. So I am a miracle.
Yes, this is not like HIV positive. This is full-blown AIDS since 1982. So we're 40 years.
40 years.
40 years with full-blown AIDS. I don't know anybody else who has that kind of a track record. Have they done like studies, like guinea pig studies on you? Like, how is this happening?
Oh, yeah.
What do they attribute it to?
Well, they attribute it to an experimental drug I was on, first of all, the very first antiviral they tried against HIV, a drug called Suramin. It put my stage 4 lymphoma and my Kaposi sarcoma into complete remission. But unfortunately, it ended up killing a large percentage of the people who took it, and everybody else died from AIDS except for one other guy who only took it for 4 weeks. I took it for 39 weeks, and it very nearly killed me, caused me to go blind and paralyzed me on the left side of my body, blew out my adrenal glands. I wasted away to nothing but skeleton with skin, so
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
and I survived.
Well, you did more than survive.
I
You
survived it.
did more than survive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you full blown AIDS. D- Did you become a pastor before or after that?
Oh, I've been a pastor since the 70s.
Oh,
And
so before
so
that, way
before,
before that. Did you
yeah.
know when you were a kid you wanted to be a pastor?
No, I wanted to be a Broadway song and dance man. I wanted to be
Okay.
a star. I wanted to be famous as a legendary Gene Kelly type, but
And
God
that was your,
God had other plans for me.
well, you're still famous, but maybe not Gene Kelly type. Hey,
Right.
but there's not there. There's just a shift there in
Yes.
another avenue. But when did you know you were gay, and how did you come out?
Oh God, I knew as far back as I can remember. I found a letter that my father wrote to his parents when I was about 18 months old. He was the varsity wrestling coach and a math teacher at Phillips Academy, Andover, an old boys prep school. That's no longer an all boys prep school; it's co-ed. But anyway, in this letter, he wrote, "Dear Mom and Dad, we're so excited because little Stevie said his first words today. We had the wrestling team down for dinner, and as they came in through the door, Stevie sat up in his high chair and said, 'Boys, boys, boys.'"
Oh, you could not make up something as good as that. And I know you're not, but
No,
that's amazing. Now he didn't make the association then, did he?
no, no,
No, okay.
of course not. No,
You
no.
but you knew.
Oh, I knew as far back as I can remember because, I always had this thing for Superman, and those tights and the big muscular body and Hercules. Oh my God, when I saw Steve Reeves as Hercules, I thought I'd died and gone to heaven, you know, and I was like 4, 5, 6 years old. And I knew.
So how did you break it to your parents?
Well, not until I was 23.
Okay.
It was much later, and I was in seminary studying for the ministry in the gay community, and I was in a Presbyterian seminary, and I was home visiting them, and Anita Bryant was on the Phil Donahue show. This was way back then in the 70s, and I couldn't help muttering, "Oh my God, that woman, she's so hateful." And at dinner that night, my dad asked me, "Steve, do you think you might be a homosexual?" And I said, "Oh, yes." And,
Thank you, Dad.
he took my hand across the table and said, "Steve, you're my son and I love you, and nothing can change that."
Oh, wow. He gets kudos for that. I want to give him applause. That's so amazing. Wouldn't
Yeah.
that be great if every single parent who found out their kids, yeah, would have that reaction? Wouldn't that be an amazing world? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm so grateful that you had that experience.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were in seminary, did they know that you were gay when you wanted to
Go to
become a
seminary? Oh,
pastor?
sure.
Yeah.
It was okay with this Presbyterian seminary, McCormick Seminary in Chicago, as long as I wasn't studying for the ministry in the Presbyterian Church. I was studying for ministry in the metropolitan community churches, a friendly, again, an LGBTQ friendly
Okay.
church denomination.
Right. Um, so if so they knew you were gay, they knew you were going to minister to the community churches, not in Presbyterian.
Right.
Um, there's almost something like double-edged about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is really how Tammy Faye got in trouble, right? Through that interview. So tell me how that came about. So for those
Oh,
of you, give a recap on who Tammy Faye is as well, just in case they didn't watch the movie.
Tammy Faye and Jim Baker were two of the most successful, widely seen televangelists in the 70s and 80s, and they had a television network called PTL, Praise the Lord Network. And on that network, they had a show that Tammy did every day every weekday called Tammy's House Party. And she wanted to be the first televangelist of any of the televangelists anywhere to interview a gay man with AIDS. And they found me after doing an exhaustive search in the South and East, and they couldn't find anybody willing to go on the show with them. This was 1985, remember? And then a friend of mine, they called and he said, I bet you Reverend Steve Pieters would do it.
Why do you think everybody was reticent about doing it? Because they thought they were going to get attacked?
Oh, sure. And
Okay.
also there was a lot of fear of being, known as a person with AIDS, let alone as a gay man. But a gay man with AIDS, oh my God, the stigma was horrible back then.
Right.
Fear was horrible.
Yeah. And that's the good news that we're not there as much, at least definitely in California.
Right.
We've 180 degrees, right? Maybe not in other states or among the MAGA people.
Right.
So, okay. So, they contacted you and we're going to need to take a quick break. So when we come back, we're on the edge of the seat. How did he get on that particular interview and how that turned into an Academy Award nominated and winning movie, and his experiences with his favorite actress, I'm sure now, Jessica Chastain, who's also mine. So we'll have more of Steve Pieters' true life experiences since the last time he was on the show on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. I've got to hold on one second.
Welcome to Balanced Tai Chi Gong. My name is Dr. Marissa Pei. For the next 28 minutes, we will be slow dancing with the universe in a moving meditation that promotes inner peace, one breath at a time. Just follow the sound of my voice and move with me as I guide you through this ancient wisdom through New Thought practice. As a corporate psychologist, I created this practice in response to my life and those of my clients. We were professional, high achievement-oriented, multitasking control freaks and exhausted. No matter how many successes, it was never enough. That, coupled with a painful life experience, led me on a quest to find another way to live and back to my Chinese roots. If you practice regularly, I can promise you that it will impact all health vortexes, body, mind, spirit, soul. You will be in a place of balance and inner peace the way we were created. 谢谢.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome back. You are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News Radio, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my YouTube channel, where, thanks to you, I've passed that 250,000 view mark. And actually, we're at 255,000, and I'm getting a lot of love there. And you get to play with me in the morning as we are able to live stream and interact. So if you're watching and I see the eyeballs, if you could put in the chat anything you'd like, if you've missed the gratitudes, put some gratitudes there. It's normally compliment, commercial, and caller Thursday, but I had a special guest who was able to come, and I wanted to make sure he got here to celebrate Gay Pride Month, celebrate him and his successes. So we have a wonderful guy that I can call a friend now as well, my past guest, Reverend Dr. Steve Pieters. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you. It's great.
And before I forget, the commercial you just saw, I would love if you could come down to the beach. It's every last Saturday. I teach Chinese yoga on the water, and it's going to be this, not this Saturday, but the following on June 25th at 10 a.m. I would love if you, I'm extending, I would love to see Allison. I'll call Jerry and see if she can come down, and we'll have a little party on the beach.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So that's I'm sorry, what?
I will see what's on my calendar.
Yeah, I would love to have you. Maybe we'll get Harlan down here too.
I'm booked up a lot.
Yes, and we're going to get to that. So you're being booked up a lot. You've been on Fox News. You've been on all these channels. Whirlwind. See, you got your Gene Kelly, but because of this beautiful movie that I loved, and I can't believe that it had mixed reviews, because I thought it was done brilliantly, and I had so much compassion. So we left off. They found you to interview you on PTL with Tammy Faye. So then what happened?
Well, Tammy Faye got in a lot of trouble because she was so supportive of me as a gay man with AIDS. And she got in a lot of trouble. And there are a lot of people who feel that my interview with her was the straw that broke the camel's back for Jerry Falwell. And Jerry Falwell started really working hard at bringing down Jim and Tammy and the PTL Network, which he did by the summer of 1987. And
what did she specifically say to you on the air that got her into trouble? Because I want to emphasize this, because we still have ignorant people on the planet who use the Bible to say that homosexuality, gay, is wrong and a sin. I just had someone do stupid comments on my YouTube yesterday because I highlighted Representative Ted Lieu, he did that amazing, this is what Jesus says about homosexuality, and then was silent for a minute. And that was brilliant.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
So normally I can't have politicians on my show because I have to be bipartisan, but I'm going to reach out. I gave him the Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award yesterday because I just thought it was so brilliant. So what did Tammy Faye say that got her into hot water?
Well, much what you just said. When I told her the story of my father reaching across the table when I came out to him and saying, you know, I love you and nothing can change that. She said, thank God for parents who will embrace their children no matter what. They're still your boy, they're still your girl, she said. And that's the way with Jesus, you know, Jesus loves everybody. And I responded by saying, yes, Jesus loves me just the way I am. Jesus loves the way I love, which they actually quoted in the 2021 movie. They recreated the interview with me, and that was one of the segments they quoted. But that's one of the things that got her in trouble. And then later in the interview, when we were talking about my having AIDS and how my faith enabled me to live freely and live big while presumably dying, and not being afraid of dying, she said, only a Christian can know that faith, that strength. And that got her in a lot of trouble for calling me a Christian, you know, because of course.
Oh my God. Like, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So she got in a lot of trouble. And like I said, there are some who blame my interview on the
Mhm.
downfall of PTL.
Mhm.
And so, yeah.
So that's what happened. And then, so that was in 80 something. And
85.
then 85, you did not have contact with her after that.
No, I exchanged greetings through a mutual friend, but I did not ever meet her in person. No.
And then you saw her downfall. Did
Yes.
you feel guilty?
No, because at the
Good.
time I didn't associate that with my interview, but it was only later that historians talked about that.
Right.
And
Right.
so, no, I mean, I felt badly for them, certainly.
Right.
I
Good.
mean, the woman I met that day uh, was not the caricature that a lot of people think of when they think of Tammy Faye. She was a caring, supportive, positive, loving woman,
Mm,
you know.
what a beautiful correction, because I was one of those who was told what she was like, or she was made fun of for all the makeup she wore. And I'll never forget, I was speaking in Vegas, I think it was, and there was a sweatshirt on sale that had like all different colors on it, and then the caption was, "I just ran into Tammy Faye Baker."
Yeah.
Right. And that's all I knew. So
Right.
I was really grateful to watch the film and get a sense of what she was really like. And for that, I love when, the truth about people comes out over the stereotype or whatever the victimization is of that person. All right. So now fast forward 1980 something, no, sorry, 2000 something, you were contacted because,
Well, I wasn't contacted when
oh, okay.
they made the film, the film starring Jessica Chastain and Andrew Garfield. They did not know that I was still alive. They assumed that
No.
a person with AIDS in 1985 would be long dead. So they made the film without consulting me or
Oh
the
my gosh.
actors
So
that
they
were.
use, that's one of my questions, is the
Yeah.
the TV image, they use that from the original interview.
No, that's actually an actor playing me.
Oh, because it
Yeah.
looks like you.
I know. I know. No, the actor who played me was Randy Havens, who was a regular on Stranger Things. Uh,
Oh.
and he plays the science teacher on that. And anyway, Jessica Chastain later told me that the reason that she decided to buy the rights to the film, to the story, was because on a tour that she was doing to promote Zero Dark 30, she watched my interview with Tammy Faye on YouTube. And she was so moved by it because she too had the caricature of Tammy in her head. And she was so moved to see a real caring woman there, that she decided that she wanted to make a movie that showed the real Tammy Faye Baker as a
Oh.
human being, and the reasons why she
Mm.
wore makeup like that, and all of that. So my interview with Tammy Faye was instrumental in getting Jessica to make the
How
movie.
beautiful.
Yeah.
How beautiful. Yeah. Full circle, right?
Yeah.
Got her into trouble and now redemption, right? On the image. So when did they find you? Before or after the Oscars?
Oh, no, before.
A
Oh,
lot before. Okay.
when their son, Jay Baker, Jim and Tammy's son, Jay Baker, found me on Instagram and said that my interview with his mother changed the whole family. That he was 10 when the interview happened. And apparently she started taking the kids, her two children, to gay-friendly churches and to pride parades and to
Oh,
hospices and hospitals to visit people with AIDS. She discovered a whole new ministry and she took her kids along.
oh.
And it let Jay know that he could be who he really was. He's not gay, but he's radically different than his parents in a lot of
Thank,
ways.
thank God.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
Literally.
anyway, so yeah, so he told me about the film that had been or was being made, and my friend Allison Arngrim said, you've got to write them and let them know you're still
Still
alive.
alive,
And
yeah.
so I did, and the publicist for the film, contacted me and began putting me to work doing interviews like with you, Dr. Marissa.
Yeah.
I went to the premiere of the movie in New York City, and that's where I met Jessica for the first time, and Vincent D'Onofrio and Cherry Jones, who played her mother, and all. It was just an amazing event.
Well, it's a dream come true, right?
Yeah,
That's what you wanted when you were a kid.
when I was a kid, I know.
Yeah.
And who knew that it would happen because of Tammy Faye Baker, that I would become famous? And this is important. When I was growing up and wanted to become famous, I thought it would solve all my problems.
Mm.
I thought I would no longer be lonely. I would be remembered forever. I would, that it would show the bullies, that I was really a good person.
Show them.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and now that I have achieved a certain level of fame, I realize it did not solve my problems. It, in some ways, added to them.
Mm-hmm.
But
And how? Interesting. How?
well,
Because this is the same, and the reason why I'm asking you, because it just struck me. Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain, Robin Williams had the fame that we all think we want. Obviously, did not give them what they needed.
Right. No, I mean, what I needed was from God and from inside me. The self-loving that I thought I wanted from other people, from fame and adulation, had to come from within and from my faith in a loving God, a God who loves me just the way I am, without one plea. So that was very important. Very important lesson of the last year has been.
Beautiful. I'm so glad you brought that up, because there's so many people who still, and myself included, think, if I'm just known enough, then I can stop pretending or being all that or trying to be perfect or whatever it is. But it truly is an inside out job. I know that.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
you do. I'm sure you
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
So, okay. So then you're in New York, you're on Fox News, you're on every major channel being interviewed with and without her. So, so that was one big learning.
Yeah.
What other things, what's been your favorite moments?
Oh, well, my favorite moments was when Jessica invited me to be her date to the Oscar nominees luncheon, a really big event here in Hollywood. It's one of the major events of each year, and of course I said yes. Allison took me out and shopping for new clothes, a new suit, and she dressed me. I mean, she has impeccable taste, and
That's
anyway,
great.
she got me all dressed up for the affair, and I decided to give Jessica the actual button I wore on my lapel during the Tammy Faye
Interview.
Yeah, I
How
gave her the
cool is
actual button which said "God is greater than AIDS." And
that?
so when I got in the limousine with her, I gave it to her, and she said, "You're trying to make me my makeup."
I
She
can
got all
see
choked
it.
up. Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And
And
then you go to the Oscars.
and it was just amazing because all these famous people knew who I was. I mean, Jessica would start to introduce me to, Maggie Gyllenhaal or whoever, and she would say, "Oh, I know exactly who he is," and he's the fellow that Tammy Faye interviewed back in the day, and
Oh,
so it was just an eye-opening day of touching fame, touching being part of a group of famous people,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
around me. And as much as that was a fantasy of mine to, go to the Oscars and, meet all these
Right.
movie stars and everything and have them know who I am,
Yeah.
again, I came home and I still live alone. I still have to clean my own bathroom. I still have to do my dishes. I mean, life happens. And,
Right. Right.
the,
Yeah.
the point is to enjoy life from the inside, and it doesn't depend on being invited to the Oscars.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a beautiful a lesson to both experience and to teach. I'm sure a lot of people are like, well, I'll just see, just
Yeah,
like they
right.
say, there's not enough money to make you happy. It's like, well, let me just see. But every person I have interviewed has this similar thing. Everything that they think will make them happy, maybe it does for a fleeting moment, and
Right.
then it's gone. So if you
Yeah.
can't generate happiness, which is, the premise of the book, Eight Ways to Happiness that you know about, it's choose happiness.
Yes.
And you've learned that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So now what? Before we run out of time,
Well,
as usual.
okay. Well, I have written a memoir. I spent the lockdown writing my memoir, and I worked really hard on it. And what do you know? A literary agent decided he wanted to represent me, so he's now trying to sell the book to a publisher, a major publisher, and we're hoping that happens soon. I would love
Yes.
it. And
Wiggle fingers.
then we'll do a whole new round of interviews with
That's so awesome. What's
Yeah.
the working title of the book?
I Keep on Dancing, My Journey Through AIDS.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because are you the longest person
As
alive with
far
full-blown
and
AIDS?
with full-blown AIDS, yes, as far as we know. I mean,
That's amazing.
as many times as I've said that on the air, I
Nobody's
never had anyone
contradicted.
challenge it.
Nobody. Okay. So besides that experimental drug, are you still on that drug? You're not on that
Oh,
drug
no.
anymore.
Oh, God, no. Oh,
Are
they
you on other drugs now?
Sure. I take the a 1 pill a day Genvoya actually is what I take, that has the protease inhibitors and the antiretroviral drug in it. And I take a slew of other drugs too to deal with all the damage that my body took from that experimental drug, but also from long-term AIDS.
Right. And I'm asking this because I'm sure there's people who are on the same drug regimen who are not alive and who are not as positive as you are. So let's go to the emotional mental side.
Okay.
What do you think has contributed to your ability? And we're getting lots of thumbs up and hearts. Thank you so much for the people watching. Feel free to make comments and I'll put you up on the screen. If you have any questions for Dr. Steve, please do, or Steve, please put them in the chat and I'll put them up. But if you've just tuned in, we're almost done this fabulous interview with my repeat special guest, Steve Pieters, who, if you haven't watched the film, please watch. Was it To the Eyes or Through the Eyes? I always get them mixed up.
The Eyes of Tammy
The
Faye.
Eyes. The Eyes of Tammy Faye, starring Jessica Chastain, who won the Oscar for Best
Betrayal.
Actress, right? For
Yeah.
that movie, as well as the makeup was
makeup
awarded an Oscar as well.
well.
So watch that. Watch Tammy Faye's actual interview with Steve way back when, and look for his book coming out, Dancing in My Life.
Dancing, My Journey Through AIDS.
There you go. And if you're a publisher and you're listening to this, because I know I do have some listeners who are publishers and want to contact, who's your rep right now?
My literary agent is George Greenfield.
Okay, so George Greenfield, so that we can get this book out and available, because it is chock full of good advice on how to dance through your life, whether you have full-blown AIDS, whether or not you are gay, whether or not you have had bad stuff happen to you, good stuff happen to you. I think you are a phenomenal teacher because of what you have gone through to be able to teach and live your experience to help us learn what success and joy and happiness really is. And for that, I'm giving you again Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award. So before the book comes out, tell me what you would say the key things that people can do for themselves to stay healthy and full of joy.
Well, one of the things is that if you are diagnosed with something that is life-threatening, they may tell you, oh, it's terminal. Think of it as life-threatening, not terminal. And that gives you a space for healing. Also, when you're diagnosed with something like cancer or AIDS, fear is a very natural reaction, totally expected. But we have a choice about what to do with that fear. We can be scared to death, or we can be scared to life. We can let the fear paralyze us, or we can let it motivate us to get out and do the work of healing. And there are people who are beating the odds all the time. And if, my doctor told me when I was first diagnosed with full-blown AIDS, she said, not everybody's going to die from this. And if 1 in a million survive, why not believe you're that 1 in a million and then act accordingly and go about to create the conditions for medicine to work when one becomes available.
Beautiful.
So,
I'm trying to capture this. And I'm going to give you credit. P-I-E. Okay, so let's see if I got that right. I just put here, if you're told you have terminal, change it to life-threatening and think about the upside. You can be the 1 in a million chance. Is that right?
That's right.
There's a new quote. We're going to get that out there for anyone who's going through anything life-threatening, not terminal. And my little favorite expression about fear stands for future events already ruined.
Ooh, that's good. I like that. Thank you, Dr. Marissa.
Thank you. You're welcome. And I would love to take credit, but I have a feeling that I've heard it somewhere and stole it, and I did not remember who came up with that. But in the meantime, I will take credit.
Good.
Because it's true. And I like the way you said fear is a natural reaction, but it doesn't have to stay there. I'm always about feel it fully, but don't marinate in it. Don't get stuck in it. Don't get infected with it.
Yes.
Right? Because life is so short. And thank you so much, Steve, for coming on. You really do embody what I love to give as a vision for everybody, which is that you're loving, lovable, loved, you're wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness, you're one of a kind, wonderful, and you just take that and run with it. And you do, and you really do. And I so appreciate that I've gotten to know you and can call you friend. And next time you are going on anything and need a date, you're going to ask me if Allison is not available, and Harlan's not available, and Valerie's not available, and Jessica's not available. I'm the 5th one down. How's that? Will you promise?
Promise.
Oh, yay. So, because I could definitely do with a nice limo ride.
All right. I'll remember. Yeah.
That's wonderful. How do people find you?
Well, I am on Facebook at Rev Steve Pieters, I'm Still Dancing. And I am on Instagram and Twitter at ASPIETERS.
And what's the A stand for?
Albert.
Oh,
It was
Albert.
my grandfather's name.
Oh, interesting.
And my parents didn't want to call me Albert. They wanted to call me Steve. So that's my middle name. And they said they didn't name me Stephen Albert Pieters because then my initials would have spelled SAP. So instead it spells ASP. My
That's okay. That's a snake. I don't know what's better, something in the middle of a tree
right? I know.
or a snake. Okay. But at least they were thinking about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. And anything else that you think someone, oh, let's go to the question I asked. I covered a story on location. They had a new crosswalk unveiling in rainbow colors in Manhattan Beach at the pier. Shocker.
Oh, nice.
I know, right? But the wonderful man who was responsible for that, I asked him this question. He said it was a good question. So what is your advice to anyone who is afraid that they're not going to get the same reaction as your parents gave in coming out?
Well, you have to be. The reality is, most parents do not react as positively as my parents did, and you have to realize that we have biological family, the family that we were born into, and we have logical family that
Oh,
we create around us, of the people who love us for ourselves. We have biological and we have logical family.
I love that.
Yeah. Well,
Another gift to send out there.
and I
We
learned
have
that from Armistead
biological.
Maupin.
I'm sorry.
I learned that from Armistead Maupin and from a friend who conducted the Gay Men's Chorus, Joe Netto. He introduced me to that saying. So,
Wonderful. I call them. I have a logical family.
yeah.
Because I also grew up one of the 7 to 10 of us who've grown up with childhood trauma. And so I call them my bonus parents and my
I love
bonus
it.
family. Yeah. Before George Floyd, I called them my white mom and dad. So, and then ever since I had Jane Elliott on, I stopped saying that. So it's my bonus parents.
Your bonus parent. That's very
Yeah, we can choose. We can choose. And this, I'm again going to attribute you with that quote,
okay.
also known as bonus family, and I'll add me to you. This is the great thing about having StreamYard do my shows.
Yes.
So, and then I will put that up here. Oh no, it's not. Yeah, there it is.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
So I wish any more things you're going to be doing besides the book?
Well,
Not that you need anything more.
I'm so busy. I retired a number of years ago, and I've never been busier, and I love it. I love it.
Do you still minister?
Oh, sure. And I'm not the pastor of a church, but I'm on the staff of the Founders Metropolitan Community Church here in Los Angeles, and so I'm clergy on staff there, and everybody I meet, I minister to in some ways, or I like to think I do.
Yeah.
And
do you have a coaching practice? I'd like to set you up as a coach.
That would be really
yeah.
No,
yeah, because I think you have a lot of wisdom, especially for those who have AIDS and who are losing hope, or those who have not come out and want to get coached on that. So just contact me, drmarissa.life, and put Steve Pieters if you're interested in any kind of coaching like that. Also, the Asian Oprah giveaway today is Dr. Marissa's #1 bestseller, 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are. And a free audio book to the first person that goes to drmarissa.life and puts #Asian Oprah giveaway. And I'm going to give you an audiobook copy as well. I'm going to do the giveaway to my guests too. And I'm getting the signal. It is that time to wrap up. This has been a delightful interview again. It's wonderful always having you on the show. Stay tuned. Tomorrow I have a very special guest. He's the grandson of the Temptations founder, Otis Williams. His name is Trace Austin. He's delightful, 18-year-old music sensation coming up. He'll be the mate to my interview with Jafar Jackson, the nephew of Michael Jackson. I just love my life. I love my job. I love my work and the incredible people that I get to meet as a result of that. And Dr. Reverend Steve Pieters, I am delighted to have you again, and I'm grateful that you are still doing very well. You have the best life ever. Everybody have the best day ever. This is Dr. Marissa. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace.
All right. Yeah.
See you tomorrow. All right. Thank you so much. We're still live because I ran out of time to ask you to do this, and I'm going to cut it and use it as a promo. So
Okay.
you know the deal. We already did our gratitude, so we don't have to do who are you most grateful for. But at the end of every show, at the end of every broadcast, when I do Dr. Marissa Reporting Live, I don't know if you've seen this: peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. So you ready?
All right.
Here we go. I'm with Reverend Dr. Steve Pieters. We just finished a magnificent interview as a follow-up to his first. So grateful to have had him on the show. And I'm going to make him do the peace sign. Here we go. Peace in.
In.
Peace out.
Peace out.
World peace.
World peace.
Through inner peace.
Inner peace.
All right. And what's the best thing that you like about sitting in my studio with me? I'm going to get a little testimonial here.
Oh, I love how positive you are and how you bring out the positive in me, and the joy. There's a lot of joy in this hour. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Shit. That means thank you in Mandarin. It's not S-H-I-T, it's S-H-E-A.
Okay.
Well, you have the very best. We'll stay in contact through Facebook and social media. And don't forget, I'm number 5 in line for the next red carpet.
All right.
Love you much.
I love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Peace in, peace out.
World peace through inner
Through
peace.
inner peace.
Yay!
Wonderful.